The whole world is waiting for Dogman to hit theaters, promising an exciting and fun adventure for everyone.
Dogman!
But do you know all the amazing facts about this incredible universe that might surprise you and make you an even bigger fan of the dog cop?
Break the dog! Hit the siren!
One of the big mysteries likely to be covered in the movie is the injury of Petey, the cat antagonist with a flattened, wounded tail, an issue he's dealt with since childhood. It's a mystery because since Dogman Comics debuted, no one really knows how Petey got hurt. Author Dave Pilkey hasn't given readers a clear answer, and there's actually a reason for that. Keeping the mystery alive is a way to build suspense for a future reveal. The creator might just be waiting for the movies, which are already anticipated to be a hit, to finally reveal the truth. What we do know is that Petey's father, a terrible cat named Crud, is responsible for injuring his own son, and when that story is told, we'll learn why Petey suffered so much. But now, you don't have to wait that long to learn 12 more surprising facts about the Dogman universe. So, get ready, grab some popcorn, and bring your pet for another Cinewave that's starting right now. Do you know Captain America? Or maybe Captain Caveman? If you're into those characters, you might want to check out Captain Underpants. And what does he have to do with Dogman? Simple, they're part of the same universe, but in a unique way that I'll explain in a bit. Both stories were created by Dave Pilkey, and since popular comic authors love throwing in references, it's possible Captain Underpants could even make an appearance in the movie. Not convinced? Well, there's already a crossover in the comics, and a few characters from the Pantsless Hero have crossed over into the Dogman stories. Plus, this superhero already has his own movie, and if he shows up to help Dogman, it would be an epic crossover, a multiverse waiting to come to life on the big screen. Could this be the start of yet another franchise in the world of animation? I can't wait! In the Captain Underpants universe, Dogman was created by friends George and Harold, meaning Dogman is a fictional character within Captain Underpants' world. So when we watch the movie, we're technically seeing a story created by these two characters. This is exactly why the hero's cameo could happen. Everything that happens in Dogman's universe is at the whim of these two kids. It makes everything feel even more special, doesn't it? Of course, it had to be the two kids who came up with a cop with a dog's head. The coolest thing about all this is that it's like a comic within a comic. That's so awesome. If you consider yourself a geek, a true superfan who loves pop culture and appreciates all the details of the stories you love, then you should know that Dogman is actually a graphic novel, not a book. The big difference is that graphic novels are like comics, but with complete stories within a large compilation, rather than following the release of shorter individual comic issues. Dogman's style has many pages, perfect for those who love to read, and it's usually published in hardcover with special attention to the art, making it a collectible item. That's why people get confused. If you don't see the comic-style pages inside and just look at the cover, you might think it's a regular book. Okay, I agree that this is a super specific detail and doesn't change a reader's experience, but if you're a true fan, it's pretty cool to know these differences, right? And do you like drawing characters during class? Then comment with #comics so we know just how creative you are. If George and Harold created Dogman in fiction, then in real life, author Dave Pilkey based the villain Petey on himself, drawing inspiration from the struggles he faced during his school years. The creator went through a tough time in school. There's even a story where a teacher tore up his character's drawings, telling him that creating characters had no future. This explains a lot, as Petey, after experiencing a rough time in his life, stops being a villain and heals, thanks to Lil Petey, who's inspired by the author's mother. So in the Dogman universe, Petey is the father, but in the real world, Little Petey's inspiration came from Dave Pilkey's mom. It's pretty sweet, isn't it? Get ready to jump out of your seat when you find out there's a Dogman musical. That's right, a comedy musical inspired by the comics. The story kicks off with George and Harold talking to the audience about the comics they created. Then the plot unfolds with Petey creating a clone of himself, Lil Petey, to get revenge on Dogman. But here's the twist. The clone is actually good-hearted and decides to befriend the hero instead. And from there, you can guess. Chaos everywhere, lots of music, and a happy ending. The show debuted in the US in 2019, but for the rest of the world, I have some bad news. Unfortunately, the musical hasn't made it out of its home country yet. But who knows, maybe the success of the movie will change that. As the fabulous Edna Mode from The Incredibles once said, "No capes." When the Dogman creator first sketched out the character, he thought about giving him a hero's cape, but scrapped it. After all, it didn't make much sense for a police officer to wear one. Of course, putting a dog's head on a human body was totally fine, but a cape? That's going too far. The cool part is that this idea was recycled later on because Dogman has a superhero group called the Super Buddies, and this time he does wear a super cool cape that looks a lot like Batman's. Is it a bird or a plane? Get ready to see Dogman, with or without a cape, fighting crime in theaters this January 2025. If you're excited for the Dog Cop's debut on the big screen, know that fans won't just be watching a fun and lively story. Dogman also tackles some very heavy topics. One of the adaptations we're looking forward to is Petey's childhood, where he was abandoned by his father Crud and sadly lost his mother Grace to illness. Grace's presence in Petey's life is incredibly important because her passing, after being abandoned by her husband, significantly contributes to the villain's anger and his turn to a life of crime. So you already know, when the movie premieres, you're going to laugh a lot, but you'll also cry quite a bit. So make sure to bring your tissues. And to avoid those tears later, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Deal? Don't say I didn't warn ya. Now moving on to lighter topics, did you know there's a Dogman spin-off called Cat Kid? The main character is Little Petey. This comic focuses on the innocent adventures of a little kitten and even includes interactive pages where you can color some characters. Returning to some fun facts about Dogman, there's a creation of Petey's called the robot ADHD, which fans around the world know very well. However, only those who speak English might fully understand the name's significance. The pronunciation of the robot's name refers to the mental condition ADHD, which is relevant because the comic's author, Dave Pilkey, has been diagnosed with this condition. This condition has different acronyms in other languages, and that explains why only English speakers catch the reference right away. Remember when I mentioned that Petey is based on a tough time in the creator's life, and that the robot in the comic is a creation of Petey? Now you can understand a bit more about why that super machine has such a name. Now, if you're not really into robots, you should know that Dogman is so famous that there's a line of plush toys and other merchandise. Surprised? We know that not every subscriber to the channel is familiar with Dogman, but it's true. This comic is one of the best-selling illustrated stories in the world today. The Dog Cop has been translated into over 40 languages around the world, and it's no wonder that this character is finally getting his first movie adaptation. If, like me, you're someone who seeks to become a fan of new and fun things, and if you don't know Dogman yet, I'm thrilled to invite you to join the group of proud fans who are eagerly anticipating the movie's release in theaters. We're excited to discuss this animation here and create theories that will keep the hype going strong for all the fans. Let's wrap up with a theory that might blow your mind. Petey might not actually be the main villain in the upcoming movie, and the animation studio could be tricking us with the trailer. Let's take a closer look at the details. If you pay attention to the trailer, you'll see that in the scene of the police chief's office, there's an investigation board where all the clues point to the fish Flippy, and there are even other images of this same character on the board. And for just a split second, the office aquarium has a fish that looks lifeless. In the comics, Flippy belonged to the police chief before becoming a villain, but why would there be a fish floating upside down in his aquarium? Probably because it's a fake fish and the real one escaped. That's why the investigation board shows Flippy as the prime suspect. So it looks like the cat might not be the villain in this movie. Can you feel that hint of mystery in the air? What I'm sensing is that this film is going to be the best start to the year ever. 2025 is kicking off with some of the best animations that's sure to spark a lot of conversation. Until then, stick with us, okay? We've picked out 2 more pieces of content for you to check out. See you in the next video.